You already know what time it is. This is Wicked Streets TV, where we don't just tell street stories, we break down the paperwork behind them. No fairy tales, no industry spin, just a real timeline. From the hustle, to the handcuffs, to the hard time. Tonight, we heading to Kansas City. This one got everything. Cartel connections, 20 to 50 kilo shipments coming up from Mexico, hidden cash stuffed inside door panels, a rap label in the mix, and an operation the feds called Operation Blockbuster. 31 defendants, federal indictments, jury trials, and sentences measured in decades. We're talking about cocaine moving by the hundreds of bricks, millions in proceeds, music videos on one side, and evidence bags on the other. Because sometimes the image and the indictment run on the same timeline. This ain't a mixtape story. This is a federal case file. If you new here and you rock with this type of content, be sure to hit them like and subscribe buttons so you get notified whenever we drop. Wicked Streets TV. Let's get into it. We live in a backwards world. Some celebrities wake up famous and nobody can tell you why. No resume, no body of work, just vibes and camera flashes. Then you got the ones who really earn their stripes. Actors, entertainers, people who climb the ladder the hard way, and they still itching to be something else. Meanwhile, real street dudes love standing next to that spotlight like it's a heat lamp in winter. Everybody's staring at the other side thinking it shine brighter. Grass always look greener when you ain't the one cutting it. You saw it when actors from The Sopranos ended up tangled in real-life crime. Like the script jumped off the page and into their real world. That line between fiction and reality, paper thin. And nowhere does that collision hit harder than hip-hop. For decades, rap and crime been dancing together. Lyrics painting murals of violent neighborhoods across America. Hustle stories, shootouts, corners, kilos, survival. Millions of listeners vibing to narratives about the block. But here's the part people don't say out loud. Most rappers were never that deep in it. Some touched the life lightly. Some barely brushed it at all. Because let's be honest, if somebody was truly making millions pushing dope, why pivot into studio sessions and label meetings? The street ain't exactly known for career counseling. That's where the image game comes in. Embellish the past, inflate it, manufacture it if you have to. Because in rap, perception moves units. Image is everything. Sometimes the story sells harder than the skill. You don't gotta be the biggest hustler. You just gotta look like it. The costume becomes the currency. But then you let a real one in the room. Murder Inc. thought it was a power move bringing Kenneth Supreme McGriff into their multi-million-dollar machine. Real New York crime boss energy inside a record label selling worldwide. On paper, it probably looked like authenticity. In reality, it brought heat. When a real gangster steps in the corporate light, the feds step in behind him. McGriff drew law enforcement attention like sirens to a block party. Label executives ended up in court on money laundering charges. They beat it, acquitted, but the warning was loud. The gangster life ain't just champagne and chains. It's stress, it's paranoia, it's prison bars or a headstone. While the music world was flirting with the image, Kansas City was running something with no filter. From January 1st, 2007 to February 11th, 2010, a cocaine trafficking operation was moving serious weight through the Kansas City metro area. Hundreds of bricks, millions of dollars. Not mixtape numbers, real ones. The DEA would eventually dismantle it in an investigation called Operation Blockbuster. At the top was Alejandro Corredor, 36 years old, also known as Lulu, Rolo, and Alex. Colombian citizen posted up in Kansas City with a plug tied to a Mexican drug cartel. This wasn't street-level guessing. This was direct line business. Corredor would call his supplier in Mexico and order cocaine specifically for Kansas City, like he was placing inventory for a warehouse. A normal shipment? 20 to 50 bricks at a time. That's not corner hustle math. That's truckload math. The cocaine came north from Mexico in vehicles driven into Kansas City. Once the product was sold and the cash stacked, Corredor bundled the money tight and hid it inside false compartments built into vehicles. Metal and upholstery turned into vault space. Then those vehicles rolled toward El Paso, Texas. From there, the money crossed back into Mexico. Product north, cash south, a steady loop. Like a conveyor belt built out of highways and hidden panels. While some rappers were rapping about weight to build a brand, this was weight being ordered by phone and shipped across borders. No studio lights, no stage, just cartel connections, 20 to 50 kilo loads, and cash tucked inside car doors headed for El Paso. The difference between image and reality? One makes headlines, the other makes indictments. The money started talking before anybody took the stand. During the investigation, law enforcement didn't just hear rumors. They started finding weight and cash in places people thought were invisible. On March 9, 2009, agents were conducting surveillance at a Kansas City residence when they saw something that didn't look right. Conspirators weren't just moving casually. They were stuffing bundles of cash inside the door panels of a Jeep Cherokee. Not the trunk, not a duffel bag, the door panels. Like the car itself had secrets built into its ribs. A Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper stopped that Jeep in Cass County, and it wasn't riding alone. There was also a Nissan being towed behind it. When the searches happened, the hidden compartments told their own story. The trooper recovered 163 bundles of cash, adding up to more than $1.6 million. That's not pocket change. That's not, I hit a good week. That stack's so thick they need counting machines and rubber bands just to breathe. And that wasn't the only time the road betrayed them. On May 9th, 2009, another traffic stop turned up nearly $654,000. 10 days later, on May 19th, 2009, more than $50,000 was seized from another vehicle. All of it described as proceeds from the same conspiracy. The highways started looking less like escape routes and more like collection points. Then Operation Blockbuster peeled back another layer. Executing a search warrant at a Kansas City residence, officers seized 46-kilogram bundles of cocaine, 46 bricks. Alongside that sat $151,000 in cash and a drug ledger. And that ledger wasn't light reading. It showed that in just a 4-month stretch, the organization distributed more than 800 bricks of cocaine and brought in $10 million in proceeds. 4 months, 800 bricks, $10 million. That's not street corner hustle math. That's industrial scale. That's warehouse energy. And then the story pivots from bricks to beats. 2 of the Kansas City distributors weren't just moving weight, they were moving music. Dandrae L. Jones, known as Bird, and Edward W. Jefferson, known as Black Walt. Both rap artists, both tied to the same cocaine pipeline. Jones wasn't just a distributor, he was a local rap artist and the owner of Block Life Entertainment. Corredor didn't just supply him, he invested in him. Between $200,000 and $250,000 went into Block Life Entertainment. And Jones lived rent-free in one of Corredor's residential properties. Business and lifestyle blended together like studio smoke and street money. Jefferson, also a rap artist, also one of Corredor's distributors. Same orbit, same pipeline. And while all this was allegedly moving, multiple bricks at a time, the public presence didn't shrink, it grew. Music videos went up on YouTube. A MySpace page displayed promotional photos, pictures of luxury automobiles, flash, image, presentation. It wasn't the quiet, shadow-walking type of operation people expect from drug conspiracies. No ducking cameras, no newspapers over faces. Instead, it was visibility, music, branding, a crew promoting a label while, according to the case, bricks were being distributed behind the scenes. On one side, hidden compartments, 163 bundles of cash, 46 bricks. ledgers showing 800 bricks in 4 months. On the other side, music videos, MySpace photos, luxury cars, a label called Block Life Entertainment. 2 worlds running parallel, one built on image, one documented in evidence bags. Once the streets finished talking, the paperwork started talking louder. On February 11, 2010, a federal indictment dropped. Ink on paper. The kind of ink that don't smudge and don't forget. It charged a cocaine conspiracy stretching all the way back to January 2007 through that very date. Years wrapped into paragraphs, kilos reduced to counts, names lined up in federal typeface. Operation Blockbuster wasn't just one badge and a flashlight. It was described as a multi-agency effort, with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Kansas in the mix. 3 separate indictments, 31 defendants. That's not a random sweep, that's a roll call. When you see numbers like that, you know the case wasn't built overnight. It was layered, stacked, compiled piece by piece. In related proceedings, some defendants went to trial. Others folded early and pleaded guilty. Deals were made, testimony shifted. The dominoes started falling in different directions. Marlon Jordan and Michael D. Davis pleaded guilty in early June 2011 to their roles in the conspiracy. No dramatic jury moment, just admissions and sentencing waiting in the wings. But the spotlight settled on Dandrae Bird Jones and Edward Black Walt Jefferson. Their trial began on Monday, June 27, 2011. Federal courtroom. No music videos here, no MySpace pages. Just exhibits, witnesses, and transcripts. For days, the government laid it out. And when it was done, the case went to 12 strangers in a jury box. On Thursday, June 30th, 2011, it was over. The jury came back and found Jones and Jefferson guilty of conspiracy to distribute 5 bricks or more of cocaine. 5 kilos is the statutory line. But everybody in that room knew this case was about far more than a single brick. Still, that's how federal law measures it. Thresholds and statutes. Jefferson caught an extra count too, using a telephone to facilitate the distribution of cocaine. Sometimes it's not just what you move, it's what you say and how you say it. That same round of verdicts reached beyond Kansas City. Miguel Villa of St. Paul was convicted of bulk cash smuggling. The allegation? Attempting to transport $300,000 hidden inside the secret compartments of a Ford F-150. Not in a safe, not in a bank, in hidden metal cavities built to swallow bundles whole. The jury deliberated for close to 8 hours before returning those guilty verdicts to U.S. District Judge Nanette K. Lawfrey. 8 hours to weigh years of activity. 8 hours to decide whether the government proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Then the statute stepped in. Under federal law, Jones and Jefferson each faced a mandatory minimum of 10 years in federal prison without parole. And the ceiling? Life without parole. That's not county time. That's not good behavior shaving it down to nothing. That's federal time. Straight, cold, and calendar bound. Villa, on the bulk cash smuggling count, faced up to 5 years. From January 2007 to February 2010, the conspiracy allegedly ran. By February 11, 2010, the indictment locked it into record. By June 30th, 2011, the jury locked in the verdict. Operation Blockbuster started as surveillance, seizures, and ledgers. It ended with 31 defendants charged, guilty pleas entered, and a jury saying one word that echoes louder than any mixtape drop. Guilty. Then came sentencing day, the part nobody raps about. Alejandro Corredor, the one with the direct line to Mexico, the man ordering 20 to 50 kilo loads like takeout, had already taken a plea in a separate but related case. When he stood in front of the federal judge, the math got cold. 30 years in federal prison, no parole. That's not county time. That's not, I'll be home before my kids graduate. That's 3 decades in a system where the clock moves like wet cement. Then Bird stepped up. Dandrae Bird Jones, the rap artist, the Block Life entertainment boss, the distributor identified at trial, had been found guilty. The sentence? 30 years in federal prison without parole. Same number, same weight. 30 years is long enough for trends to change 3 times. Long enough for music platforms to rise and fall. Long enough for the world to forget the mixtape and remember the mugshot. Edward Black Walt Jefferson came next. Judge Nanette K. Lawfrey handed down 240 months. That's 20 years in federal prison without parole. Court documents attributed to him the sale of 283 kilograms of cocaine obtained from Corredor. 283 bricks. That's not street gossip. That's what the paperwork says. 20 years attached to it. No shortcuts. No early exit ramp. And the rest of the circle felt it too. Marlon Jordan, who pleaded guilty, got 5 years. Michael D. Davis, also pleading guilty, received 4 years and 6 months. Miguel Villa, the man tied to the bulk cash smuggling in that Ford F-150 with hidden compartments, got 2 years and 9 months after being found guilty at trial. Different roles, different sentences, same system tightening the screws. And just when it looked like it was over, Bird tried to fight it upstairs. On appeal, Jones challenged the conviction. Conspiracy to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine. He argued the district court should have granted his motion for judgment of acquittal. Said the evidence wasn't enough. Said the court made an error applying that 2-level obstruction of justice enhancement. The bump that comes when a judge decides a defendant intentionally gave false testimony under oath. That enhancement? That's the court basically saying, you didn't just lose, you lied. But the appellate court wasn't moved. They reviewed the record, looked at the evidence in the light most favorable to the government, gave deference to the district court, and they affirmed. The conviction stood, the sentence stood, the enhancement stood. 30 years stayed 30 years. No remix, no edit. From 20 to 50 kilo loads coming up from Mexico, to 163 bundles of cash in door panels, to 46 bricks seized in a residence, to a jury deliberating 8 hours, to federal statutes spelling out mandatory minimums. And at the end of it all, the numbers were heavier than the music. 30 years, 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, 4 years, 6 months, 2 years, 9 months. That's how Operation Blockbuster closed its final chapter. Not with applause, not with platinum plaques, but with decades stamped in black ink. In the streets, image is everything. In federal court, evidence is everything. And once that gavel drops, the only thing left to count is time. And that's how this chapter closes. From cartel calls and 20 to 50 kilo loads, to hidden compartments stuffed with cash, to 46 bricks on the table and ledgers spelling out millions, to a federal courtroom where the music stopped and the numbers started talking. 30 years. 30 years. 20 years. 5. 4.5. 2 and 9. That's not rap math. That's federal math. See, the streets love the highlight reel. The chains, the cars, the label money, the block life branding. But the system plays the long game. It builds cases brick by brick, wire by wire, ledger by ledger. And when it finally kicks the door in, it doesn't argue on Instagram. It argues in court. Operation Blockbuster didn't end with a mixtape drop. It ended with decades being handed out like receipts. This is Wicked Streets TV. We don't glorify it, we document it. We show you the rise, the shine, the noise, and then we show you the courtroom, the sentencing sheet, and the years that follow. Because every flashy run got a paperwork ending. If you rockin' with real street documentaries told raw and unfiltered, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap in. More stories coming. Real names, real cases, real consequences. Stay sharp, stay smart. Wicked Streets TV, we out.
This shit is wicked, these mean streets.